Yesterday was a really rough day for me as a fan to watch. Probably for you guys as well. There's so much you could talk about. What went wrong? Who to blame? But I think my thoughts first is that it starts as a whole team. Everyone wants to single out. Okay, you have Kevin Patullo, Jalen Hurts, blah blah blah. But I mean, you got to look. It's a pedigree, right? You got to look top to bottom. Okay, we have Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, who overlooks everything. Then we have Howie Roseman, his executives, blah blah blah. Then there's Nick Sirianni. Then there's the coordinators, Kevin Patullo. Then there's the coaches, and then there's the players. And when you are looking and you are defining what is a good football team, you're going from top to bottom organization, how well they can lead their team, the togetherness of the locker room, whatever, the whole 9 yards. You go down, you're like, okay, this is what a good football team is. The Eagles were not one of those teams. Okay. You have come off a Super Bowl season, one of the best seasons, probably the best season the Eagles have had in history. They win their second Super Bowl ever. The aspirations. This is like, okay, this could be the start of maybe I don't want to say dynasty, but 3-4 year good, very good stretch the Eagles could have. We go into the offseason. We lose a few guys, but okay, it's all right. We got some replacements going into the season. The expectations are sky high. We are going to go back to the Super Bowl. You look at the offense specifically. The offense specifically, you lost one player, and that was Mekhi Becton. That was one offensive starter. Then you replaced him with Tyler Steen, who honestly didn't do an awful job. He did what he had to do. He wasn't great, wasn't bad, but he's an okay, right guard in the NFL. But the main scenario was Kevin Patullo, right? And I will talk about Kevin Patullo in a sec. But when you look at the offensively wise, the good teams, they can run through their defense, but mainly they will run through their offense. Any Super Bowl winner, aside from the 2023 Chiefs, have had a top 10 offense scoring-wise. In all categories, they've been top 10 in everything. So that shows you that a good offense is going to take you very far places. And when an Eagles offense has Jalen Hurts, a Super Bowl winning MVP, he has led the Eagles to 5 straight playoffs as the starting quarterback. 5 straight playoff appearances. Hasn't missed out on one since being named the Week 1 starter. That stat alone is very, very important and very noteworthy in my opinion. Like, this dude can get his team places, and you're going to go, okay, blah, 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 carries, whatever. I understand. I'm totally here for all the slander regarding Jalen Hurts' name, and I understand it. Okay, I totally do. But when you have a team with Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley coming off a 2,000-yard All-Pro Pro Bowl season, one of the best seasons a running back has had in the last couple years, I mean, that's noteworthy guy. You have 2 wide receiver 1 receivers that could be wide receiver 1s on any team. Devontae Smith's the best wide receiver 2 in football. He would probably be a top 15, 20 wide receiver 1 on other teams. I mean, the skill on this team, not to mention then you have Dallas Goedert, who is I would say top above the average tight end in the league. And then you go with the offensive line, you have all pros, Pro Bowlers, very notable worthy guys. This offense has no excuse on why they averaged 19 points the second half of the season. And, that brings me to another point. It's like the defense cannot save you in every game. We saw that the defense, 2 interceptions, you win the turnover battle. You should never be losing when Quinyon Mitchell, 2 second-half interceptions. You should never be losing. Bottom line, let's look more in-depthly on this loss and overall the season and what's next for the Eagles team. Well, let's just start with the basics here. All week, all the hype regarding this game all week leading up to it was this is going to be a chess match between Kyle Shanahan, who is a very, very good NFL head coach, against Vic Fangio, probably the best defensive minds in all of the NFL, not being a head coach. He is very, very prominent in his role. And that was the talk all week. Okay, it's going to be a chess match, blah, 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 coaching, blah, blah, blah. And the defense definitely came to play. Let's just first look at the Philadelphia defense. Only 1 sack, but it's okay. They didn't really get to the quarterback, but the secondary was where it was at. 5 pass deflections. Obviously, the 2 interceptions with Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, when you have 2 interceptions alone, and not to mention one of them sets you up within the 40, actually, both those interceptions set you up in your territory. You're in striking distance. There's no reason why you should be not being able to capitalize, and it's just embarrassing. Bottom line, it's just an embarrassing, sequence, right? All right, so basically, let's just break it down from the start. First drive of the game, the Eagles got absolutely routed by Demarcus Robinson and Brock Purdy. It was a 6-play, 76-yard touchdown drive with only 3 minutes of possession time. Bottom line is Eagles responded right back, and then Jake Elliott decides, okay, I'm going to miss an extra point. That extra point actually came back to bite the Eagles, and I'll explain why in a sec. Then a bunch of stuff. Eagles then break it up. We have a 16-play, 94-yard, 9-minute drive by the offense. A capitalized, very, very prominent, put together well drive by the Eagles offense. I really liked what I was seeing, and I was very confident going into halftime. Okay, Niners get a field goal, whatever. But then you have a minute. You have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to put together an extended 2-minute drill. And what happens is, okay, we have a touchback. Saquon Barkley up the to the left, 6 yards. And it's the same constant sequence we're seeing from Kevin Patullo. Jalen Hurts, incomplete, deep ball to A.J. Brown. All right, then we're going to have, of course, a penalty on Fred Johnson and then another incomplete pass deep to A.J. Brown. Then we're going to have to punt. We go into halftime. It's 13-10. So that drive was kind of the start of the deteriorating offense we see from the Eagles. They can never, ever put together 4 good quarters of offensive play. I mean, aside from maybe that Raiders game, they can never, ever make it look like they're handling a team offensively and they know what they're doing. Okay, bottom line is we have an interception. Quinyon Mitchell gets an interception with 10:28 left. At the Philly 45 is where Eagles set up shop. 4 plays, -4 yards is all you need to see for me to say something is wrong with this Eagles team. This Eagles team could not find their identity once this entire year. And in the game that matters the most, it's most evident that this team was not prepared at all. Not to say, I mean, look at this, okay? We're going to have a Jalen Hurts incomplete deep ball to A.J. Brown. Saquon Barkley up the middle, A.J. Brown deep ball is the only plays Kevin Patullo knows how to run. Then we have a Jalen Hurts, 10 yards. Nope, it's coming back, 10-yard penalty because the penalties, the Eagles that was another thing that killed them so much, just the constant penalties, mainly with the offensive line. Cam Jurgens is supposed to be a Pro Bowl center, and he's getting constant holding calls. It's just unbelievable to me what this team, top to bottom, there's just no accountability taken either, which I'll talk about later again. Then we have Saquon Barkley, then Hurts. I mean, bottom line is then you have to punt. But the fact that you have an interception, you're setting up shop in your own territory, you can't even get a field goal, it's just beyond to me. It's just unbelievable. Then they force another punt. All right, the defense comes up big again. The Eagles have a 10-play, 23-yard drive that results in just a field goal. You start at the San Francisco 46, pretty much midfield. That's very good field position again. Once again, Kevin Patullo just cannot get this offense in rhythm. Jalen Hurts has no idea what he wants to do with the ball because nobody's open. Nobody has any dedication. Nobody's going to run a route. And it's just unbelievable. Okay, then they score a touchdown. Right, extra point is good, blah, blah, blah. We punt again. And then we have another interception. This time we do get a field goal out of it. But again, not capitalizing on your touchdown drives, not, that field goal you get on that interception changes the game. You make that extra point. Okay, we're at the end we have 23-9. It'll be 23-20. We can get an extra point. We can force this game to overtime, whatever. It's just constant beating yourselves in the foot, not being able to capitalize on opportunities. That was all year for the Eagles. There was just no figuring things out, no comprehensive plan to make this thing work. It should not take a team 18 weeks to find their identity. They didn't find their identity even after 18 points. They still haven't found their identity. So it is just oblivious to me what is going on at the NovaCare facility when they don't have games. What are they crafting? All right. It's just unbelievable. Bottom line is it was rough, right? I mean, and then you go to team stats, and the Niners pretty much take pretty much every category. I mean, first down penalties, Niners got that. I mean, third down efficiency, 5 for 16. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You're not even over 50% on third down. It's crazy. You have 14 more plays, total yards, they had that. Yards per play, they had that. Passing, they had that. All right. I mean, rushing was the only thing we actually had. That was good. But then you look at the penalty margins. I mean, it just speaks for itself. I mean, you can't really defend this team when they just shoot themselves in the foot every time something good happens. It's like we're just going back to ground zero. I mean, and that's just the bottom line. They had the ball. The Eagles had the ball for 10 more minutes than the Niners did. Like the game was in their hands. I mean, it wasn't like we basically just threw it away, is what I'm going to say. And it's unfortunate, how things like that work, but that's just the bottom line, right? And that's just what happens. It's just unfortunate, and now we're gonna have to suffer from it, and we have to now have a whole off season of trying to figure out what we're gonna do, what's next, right? So that is something that is gonna be very big, which I'll talk about again in a second. So obviously now, as the Eagles, you have a lot of decisions to make, mainly regarding that offensive coordinator position with Kevin Patullo. You also have some really good free agents: Dallas Goedert, Reed Blankenship, Kobe Dean, okay, just Jalen Phillips, just to name a few. I mean, these are just very, very key guys, offensive starters, offense and defense starters. They're going to have to kind of figure out what they're going to do. So that's going to be something to watch. But I think John Clark reported that Adam Schefter says the Eagles will be making changes to their offensive staff, and he expects them to bring in a proven offensive mind. That to me sounds like, okay, we're firing Kevin Patullo, and I'm totally with that. I think, yes, it's his first season calling the plays, but when you have 18 games to figure things out with a top 5 offense on paper, in my opinion, on paper, that's key, on paper in the league, and you can't figure it out, you're just not fit for the job, right? I mean, that is the only thing I can really think of. I don't think that they should keep him. You could argue, okay, let's have another year. Maybe him and Hurts will finally figure it out. They'll spend the offseason. But this is an Eagles offense that really, really, really kind of relies on the play calling, a offensive mind that knows how to use their guys. All right. You saw a proven guy with Shane Steichen came over from the Colts. Or I'm sorry, didn't come over from the Colts. Now he's the Colts head coach, but his proven offensive mind that made Jalen Hurts, be elusive. The RPOs knew how to use Jalen Hurts. It's like knowing how to play chess. You got to know where you're going to put your pieces. And certain offensive minds, certain offense coordinators know how to do that. Brian Johnson in 2023 did not. Okay. Then you have Kevin Patullo in 2025. That experiment didn't work. And you need to have the Vic Fangio of the offensive coordinators. Who's that going to be? All right. I can think of Mike McDaniel, who they could bring in as a guy. I mean, obviously that's like, the dream hire, blah, blah, blah. It might not make sense, but there's guys out there that they need to capitalize on. So that's one thing that I think Kevin Patullo's got to go. And that's evident, right? And then another thing right here, A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown is a damn comedian, right? I mean, I don't want to look at the comments, but this dude is a captain on the Eagles, and he didn't even want to speak to the media. 3 drops, you call for the ball, call for the ball the entire season. You get the ball, you ball out, but then in the playoffs, you're going to drop the ball. You're going to just leave the locker room after because you don't want to face it, right? That's what I call, that's a baby move, right? And there's no other way to put it. And it's just unbelievable, right? So now, is it likely they trade A.J. Brown? I don't think so. I think A.J. Brown's a very good wide receiver. I think it was kind of just the offensive struggles really kind of added, to the media struggles. It added to everything. It just wasn't good. I think when A.J. Brown is relaxed, when he has, they're on the same page. Everyone's on the same page. Him and Sirianni have a scuffle. I mean, these guys are going to ask, like, well, let's go over here, right? You're going to ask, I mean, Jalen Hurts is asked if he wants Kevin Patullo back. Sirianni was asked about blah, blah, blah. Like, they're never going to give the honest answer. But, I mean, I think it's all pretty clear that they want what we want, right? A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, they want a good offensive coordinator. They want everyone to be on the same page offensively, and it just wasn't like that, right? It wasn't like that once. I mean, you even look here, it's like he's just still shocked, right? I mean, there's just nothing right about this Eagles team right now. And there's going to be a lot of decisions you have to make. I think first thing, and I don't even know why, it's 5 o'clock right now when I'm recording this. Why has Kevin Patullo not been fired yet? Right? Like the benefit of losing the wild card round is you can jump in on those offensive coordinator sweepstakes ASAP. And that's what they should be doing right now. I don't really know what's going on there. But there's just so much wrong with this Eagles team. And now the question is, like, okay, are you going to fire Nick Sirianni? That is a very – obviously it's not likely. Personally, if it was up to me, I would say yes. All right? You look at the Eagles' resume these last few years. Okay, we made the Super Bowl twice. But then aside from that, that's 3 wild card losses. And both times when they made the Super Bowl, you have very prominent coordinators on both sides of the ball, very good assistant coaches, and the team is not at a point like they are this year. They are not trying to figure out their identity. They're not having, week 18 like this year. They're not having losing 5 out of the last 6 in 2023, and they're not having a rookie a second-year quarterback with, some okay playmakers in 2021. That's the difference between these years and the Super Bowl years. I think Nick Sirianni is I don't think he's necessarily a bad coach, but he doesn't call the offensive plays. He doesn't call the defensive plays. He's supposedly a locker room guy, but notice how Philly is probably one of the most, how do I say it? They are in the media the most for all the wrong reasons. Probably one of the most, the NFL team-wise, they're probably in the media the most for all the wrong reasons. It seems like things are never going right in the Eagles locker room. I just don't know what Nick Sirianni brings aside from having very good players on both sides of the ball. When they have success in the Super Bowl, like the past 2022, 2024, he has those coordinators. I mean, 3 out of their 4, Super Bowl making coordinators have head coach jobs elsewhere. Obviously, Gannon getting fired, but you see what Kellen Moore's doing. Like, I don't think it's just a coincidence. I think there's something behind that. Now, do I think they'll fire him? Probably not. Do I think it should be a discussion? Yes. I think Jeffrey Lurie, as the owner, needs to really break down, okay, what is going wrong with this team? What is happening with this team? And that's what I think the Eagles need to do this offseason. I don't think it's just one person. I think it starts as a whole. I think first things first, obviously fire Patullo, but then you got to go down the pedigree, right? And I don't think a snowball effect should be put in place where, okay, we're just going to fire everyone. We're going to restart. That's not what it should be. Jalen Hurts is your franchise quarterback. You have franchise players around him. Supposedly we have the head coach of the future. So if this Eagles team is what we all think they are, aside from this season, a few tweaks and a few changes coaching-wise and playmaking-wise should not affect them at all. And they can their window is wide open, in my opinion. They can still make a run for the Super Bowl next year. I don't think it's time to panic. Bottom line is, that's going to be for me on this one. I just had to react. I mean, this isn't the most formal video, but, I mean, you got to just rant about things like this. We're going to hit you guys with the Eagles 7-round mock draft in the coming days, obviously. Draft season's around the corner, so we'll be covering that. Sixers are looking hot. I don't know. Let's see if Bo Bichette signs with the Phillies. I'm out. See you guys in the next one.